Hi, I am Chloe from Choco Mallow Cocoa Bakery in Henley-on-Thames, and today I'm going to take you through all of the basic tools that you're going to need in order to make professionally beautifully iced cakes. So it's really easy when you first start doing, well, anything I guess, but especially with cakes, to go out and buy loads of things that you really will very rarely end up using. So basically I've brought all of these things together to give you a guide of the real essentials of everything that you're going to need. So to start off with, I always use a cake leveler and slicer. So this is basically instead of using a knife, and it just means that you'll get a perfectly flat level cut through your cakes. As you can see here, there's like some really small nodules on the side here, and you can just adjust those so that you can get the right height depending on how deep your cake is. They're not that expensive, but they really are very helpful and useful. The next thing is a spatula, and again this is just for putting the buttercream on, but it's actually a really kind of bendy bit of metal, which is what you want, so you can't really use a normal knife or anything like that, and it's only a couple of quid, so it's worth investing in. The next thing is this cake scraper, and this is used, you can see that there's like a 90-degree angle there, and we use that angle on the board or whatever you're creating your cake on or smoothing your cake on, in order to get a dead flat level on the side of your cake with your buttercream. The next thing are icing polishers. Again, there's not really anything that you could substitute. I'm literally going to give you stuff that you can't really substitute for anything else that you might have around the house. They've got a handle on them, and they're literally used for polishing the fondant icing once you've put your icing on, and that gives it like a great finish, and that's what all the professionals use. And again, they're really not that expensive. A really heavy duty rolling pin. Again, I would definitely get one of these. This is kind of like the thing that I use all the time. You don't really want to be using wood and things like that, wooden rolling pins, to roll out fondant icing, because you get all the marks and things in it. It's heavy, so it's made of nylon as opposed to kind of like a hollow plastic one, which is what you would, I think a lot of people have those at home, or a wooden one. And these are a really smooth finish. So that obviously means that your icing's going to have a smooth finish once you've rolled it out as well. So they're relatively expensive. These are about £20, but probably it'll be the one thing that I couldn't live without with doing cakes, actually. Another thing that I always use is coconut oil. You might find that there's something else that you prefer to work with in time the more you're doing cakes. I just like it because it's quite nice on your hands as well. It's a bit of a moisturiser. But basically you just use this to cover the surface of whatever you're rolling your fondant icing out on. And it just means that the icing will lift off straight away rather than getting stuck to the board or whatever you're rolling out on, which is a real pain if you spent ages getting your icing perfectly flat and level, and then you pull it off and it all rips and tears. And then the very final thing that I use is a bit of old worktop, so like some granite or something that's perfectly smooth. Because it just means that it doesn't slide all over the table whilst you're trying to roll out, because it becomes really frustrating because you're kind of like trying to chase bits of icing around the table. And it just means that it takes less time to use. So that's basically the things that I always will have on any table, wherever I'm making cakes. Those are the tools that I will always take with me. That's kind of, if you can get those bits, that would be ideal. So now you've got everything that you need, let's get baking.